ranking every NBA season since 2001 by Aura. Number 23, 2023-2024. This season felt more like a transition year than something iconic. The league rolled out the new in-season tournament in December, and it gave us a short burst of excitement, especially when LeBron and the Lakers won the first title in Las Vegas. But it didn't shift the season's energy like the league hoped. Before opening night, there was a wave of star movement. Damian Lillard's shocking trade to the Bucks, James Harden finally landing on the Clippers, but none of it sparked real on-court chaos. One of the few bright spots came from Wemby, who made his debut in San Antonio and delivered on the hype. There were also some wild scoring performances during the season. Luka dropped 73 and Embiid dropped 70. But the playoffs lacked some excitement. The Celtics went 16-3, and it seemed obvious they were going to win it all from the start. That's not to say nothing in the playoffs was exciting. Watching Luka lead the Mavericks to the finals was awesome. This season gave us solid basketball, but very few memories that'll last. That's why it ranks at the bottom for Aura. Number 22, 2020-2021. Coming out of the bubble, the NBA jumped back into action super fast, and it showed. The season started late, the schedule was packed, and most arenas were still empty. That gave the whole year a strange, low-energy vibe. Injuries also hit hard. A lot of top players went down, and that's probably because of the short break between seasons. That kind of left the playoffs feeling random and unpredictable. Brooklyn looked like the team to beat, with a new big three of Durant, Kyrie, and Harden. But those guys were never able to stay healthy. Now, to Durant's credit, he still nearly carried that team to the Eastern Conference Finals. That series between the Nets and the Bucks was definitely one of the highlights from this season. Milwaukee survived that and rode the momentum all the way to the finals, where they beat the Suns. Chris Paul finally reached the finals at age 36, and Phoenix's playoff run had fans fully locked in. But Giannis ended up taking over. He dropped 50 in Game 6, he blocked shots like a superhero, and ended up delivering one of the best finals performances ever. But still, even with Giannis reaching that level, the season never felt quite right. Injuries, odd energy, and half-empty arenas just held it back. There were definitely some great moments, but just not enough momentum to place higher on this list. Number 21, 2011-2012. This was a weird season. It started late because of the lockout, and teams had to cram 66 games into a short window. That led to a lot of sloppy basketball and players clearly feeling the fatigue. Still, the chaos did give us some unforgettable moments. We got to experience Linsanity, where we watched Jeremy Lin come out of nowhere and become a star overnight. He basically turned Madison Square Garden into a movie for 2 straight weeks. The Miami Heat had lost in the finals the year before, and now LeBron James was on a mission. He won MVP and delivered one of his greatest playoff games ever, a 45-point, 15-rebound masterpiece against the Celtics in an elimination game in Boston. That moment flipped the narrative. The Heat rode that wave into the finals and faced a young Oklahoma City team led by Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. OKC won Game 1, but Miami adjusted quickly and won the next 4. LeBron finally got his first ring, and the Big Three era officially had liftoff. It was a star-studded year, but the rushed schedule and sloppy pacing just made it feel a little bit off. There were still some great highlights, but I'm gonna put it lower on this list. Number 20, 2004-2005. One of the slowest paced, most defense-heavy seasons in NBA history, and it started with chaos. The Malice in the Palace set the tone. Massive suspensions followed, and the league clamped down with a new dress code and new image rules. That incident cast a shadow over everything that followed. On the court, the grind was definitely real. The Spurs and Pistons were the 2 best teams, and they were both defensively focused. They clashed in a 7-game finals that was long, physical, and low scoring. Tim Duncan was his usual steady self, and Robert Horry hit big shots. In Phoenix, Steve Nash led the 7 seconds or less Suns, flipping the league on its head with a high-paced, flashy offense. Nash won MVP, and the Suns became must-watch TV. And then down in Miami, Shaq teamed up with a rising Dwayne Wade. They came close to reaching the finals, but fell just short. Still, the Heat had arrived as a real contender. This season was a battle between 2 eras: the slow, physical, defense-first basketball and the fast-paced, high-octane future. In the end, the finals bored most fans, and the year is mostly remembered for the fight in Detroit and the continued rise of young guys like Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. Number 19, 2006-2007. This season had some amazing moments, but the ending fell flat. The Spurs swept a young Cleveland Cavaliers team in the finals, shutting down a 22-year-old LeBron James in his first championship appearance. The games were low scoring and ratings were among the lowest ever. But there was some juice to this season before that. Kobe Bryant went on a scoring tear, putting up 4 straight games with 50+ points. The Lakers weren't contenders, but Kobe did remind everyone how dangerous he still was. In the playoffs, we got the We Believe Warriors, an 8 seed that shocked the world by beating the number 1 seed Mavericks in the first round. Oracle Arena was on fire, and Baron Davis and crew instantly became fan favorites. LeBron also had a defining moment against the Pistons in the playoffs, scoring 25 straight points in a single game to carry the Cavs to the finals. Unfortunately, this is a competitive list, and if you can't put the cherry on top with a great finals, it'll be hard to rank higher, though not impossible. Number 18. 2017-2018. This season felt like deja vu. The Warriors were still loaded with Durant, Curry, Clay, Draymond, and they coasted through the regular season. The Rockets actually finished with the better record, but everyone knew the real drama was waiting in the playoffs. Houston, led by MVP James Harden and a locked-in Chris Paul, pushed Golden State to the edge. They were up 3-2 in the West Finals, and they looked ready to end the dynasty. But then CP3 got hurt and the Rockets fell apart. In Game 7, they missed 27 straight threes. In the East, LeBron James went on one of his greatest individual playoff runs of his career. He hit buzzer beaters, played every minute, and took an average Cavs team all the way to the finals. He then dropped 51 points in Game 1, but J.R. Smith's mistake at the end of the game lost them any chance at stealing it. The Cavs never recovered, and the Warriors went on to sweep them. The end of this season just felt way too inevitable. Number 17. 2016-2017. From the moment Kevin Durant joined the 73-win Warriors, the whole season felt like a countdown to their title. Golden State was already elite, and now they had Kevin Durant. The league had never seen anything like it, and most fans knew how this would end. It's just so much harder to get excited about a season when the end result feels so predictable. The Warriors locked in and steamrolled the league. They won 67 games without ever really looking vulnerable. But everyone else still found some ways to keep things exciting. Russell Westbrook, furious after Durant's exit, went scorched earth. He averaged a triple-double for the season, something no one had done in over 50 years. He won his first and only MVP. James Harden under Mike D'Antoni in Houston also lit up the scoreboard and battled Westbrook in a wild first-round playoff duel. Still, the deeper the playoffs got, the more inevitable it all felt. The Warriors didn't just win, they dominated. They went 12-0 through the West, and even when Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs looked like a threat in Game 1 of the West Finals, Kawhi's injury ended that fast. In the East, LeBron and the Cavs cruised to their 3rd straight finals, losing just once along the way. The stage was set for the long-awaited trilogy, Warriors vs. Cavs Part 3. With Durant now in the mix, Golden State was too much. They took the title in 5 games. Between Westbrook's stat-breaking season and Durant's revenge arc, the year had unforgettable moments. But because everyone knew how it would end from the jump, the aura took a hit. Incredible basketball, just not much mystery. Number 16, 2022-2023. This season felt like a changing of the guard. Golden State had just returned to the throne in 2022, but now a new champion was coming. Denver had been knocking on the door for years, and this time they kicked it down. Nikola Jokic ran the show. Night after night, he racked up triple-doubles and made passes that just didn't seem real. On the other side, Miami brought the drama. They barely escaped the play-in, but then as an 8 seed, they beat Milwaukee in round 1. Jimmy Butler's 56-point Game 4 masterpiece became an instant classic. The Heat kept it rolling, taking out the Knicks and then Boston in a wild 7-game series to make the finals. But the finals wasn't very competitive, even though the playoffs were still pretty cool. This was also the year that LeBron James became the NBA's all-time leading scorer. The MVP race brought its own drama. Jokic was chasing a rare 3rd straight MVP, but Embiid made his case with dominant scoring and maybe some voter fatigue toward Jokic. Off the court, Ja Morant's suspension got a ton of attention. By the end of the year, Denver had its first ever title, and the NBA had delivered a season with something for everyone. A record-breaking legend, an underdog finals run, a new champion from a small market, and elite-level basketball throughout. It wasn't the most legendary year ever, but it was full, it was fresh, it was pretty satisfying. It's honestly a strong mid-tier season. Number 15, 2002-2003. This season felt like the end of one era and the beginning of another. Michael Jordan finally got his farewell tour in his final season with the Wizards. But while MJ was saying goodbye, a kid named LeBron James was already on Sports Illustrated covers, being called the Chosen One. The NBA's next chapter was forming right before our eyes. Meanwhile, in the NBA, Tim Duncan took the throne. He quietly dominated the league, won his second MVP, and led the Spurs to the title. Along the way, the Spurs ended the Shaq and Kobe Lakers in their hopes of winning a fourth straight championship. The finals weren't flashy, it was the Spurs versus the Nets, and it was all grit and defense. Jason Kidd brought the Nets back to the finals and proved their 2002 run wasn't a fluke. Even the All-Star game in Atlanta felt symbolic. Jordan got the loudest cheers, but stars like Kobe and Iverson were taking over. By April, when MJ checked out for the last time to a standing ovation, you could feel the page turning. LeBron, Wade, Carmelo, they were all about to come onto the scene. This was a cool season, even if the aura wasn't extremely high. Number 14. 2001-2002. This was a memorable but controversial season. At the heart of it all was a huge Western Conference Finals between the two-time defending champs, the Lakers, and the Kings. Game 4 gave us one of the most iconic buzzer beaters ever. Robert Horry's Miracle 3 after a chaotic scramble. They stole the win and avoided a 3-1 hole. The Kings bounced back, but Game 6 turned into one of the most controversial games in NBA history. Questionable calls in favor of the Lakers sparked outrage and theories that still linger today. Game 7 went to overtime in Sacramento. The Kings had chances, but missed free throws and clutch plays from LA gave the Lakers the edge. The finals were basically a formality. The Lakers swept the Nets and claimed their three-peat. There were also some other things this season, like Michael Jordan coming out of retirement again, and he dropped 51 points in one of these games. Jason Kidd transformed the Nets from irrelevant to finals-bound, proving one superstar could shift an entire culture. Meanwhile, the Kings, with Weber, Bibby, Vlade Divac, and Peja, gave the league a fresh and exciting team. Number 13, 2014-2015. This season was a turning point for the game of basketball. Steph Curry burst onto the scene, winning MVP and reinventing how the game of basketball was played. Pull-up threes from 30 feet and turning around before they went in. No one had ever seen anything like it. Under first-year head coach Steve Kerr, the Warriors took over the league. They won 67 games and made it look easy. Out east, the Hawks shocked everyone. They had no superstars, but they had great team basketball. They won 60 games and sent 4 players to the All-Star game. LeBron came home. After 4 years and 2 titles in Miami, he returned to Cleveland to team up with Kyrie and Kevin Love, instantly making the Cavs a contender again. The playoffs were wild. Clippers vs. Spurs gave us an all-time first-round series that ended on a one-legged Chris Paul game winner in Game 7. Then the Rockets stormed back from a 3-1 deficit against the Clippers. They famously rallied from 19 down in the fourth quarter of Game 6 after Josh Smith basically turned into Steph Curry. In the East, LeBron hit another buzzer beater, this time to sink the Bulls in Game 4 of the second round. This was part 1 of the Warriors vs. Cavs finals, but Cleveland was pretty banged up. Love didn't play a single game of the finals, and Kyrie fractured his kneecap in Game 1. That left LeBron, Delly, Mozgov to fight a 67-win monster. And somehow, LeBron made it a series. He averaged 35 points and dragged Cleveland to 2 wins, with Timothy Mozgov as the Cavs' second leading scorer. Golden State ended up making some great adjustments. They inserted Iguodala into the starting lineup, and on top of slowing down LeBron, he ended up winning the Finals MVP. The Finals weren't the most dramatic ever, but this was the year the Warriors dynasty was born, and the year Steph became the guy. I definitely could put this season a lot higher, but at this point, all of these seasons start to have pretty good arguments. Tough decisions had to be made, and I also wanted to do my best to make sure recency bias wasn't clouding my judgment. This season was cool, but the closer we get to number 1, the more you might understand why this was put here. Number 12, 2008-2009. This was the year Kobe finished the job. After falling short in 2008, he came back locked in. No Shaq, no excuses, and he led the Lakers to 65 wins and a 4th ring, this time as the clear leader. The finals weren't exactly what people wanted. LeBron's Cavs got bounced by Dwight Howard's Orlando Magic. But Kobe took care of business, beating Orlando in 5 games and finally silencing the "can he do it without Shaq" debates. LeBron dominated the regular season, won MVP, and led Cleveland to 66 wins. His buzzer beater in Game 2 against Orlando was iconic, but it wasn't enough to win the series. Meanwhile, the Celtics and Bulls delivered a legendary 7-game first-round series with 4 overtimes. This season gained a lot from the dominance of Kobe and LeBron. Had we gotten that finals matchup, it could have ended up finishing even higher on the list. But still, it was a sweet season with some serious aura. Number 11. 2021-2022. The NBA was finally back to normal after the pandemic. After 2 years of injuries and uncertainty, Golden State returned to form. Steph was amazing all year and finally added a Finals MVP to his resume with a 43-point masterpiece in Boston. The Warriors beat the Celtics in 6 games and grabbed ring number 4. But the Celtics' rise was just as important. Tatum and Brown powered through the East after a rocky start. They beat the defending champion Bucks in 7 games and then outlasted Miami in a brutal Game 7. But we can't forget arguably the most memorable thing from this season. Luka Doncic destroyed the 64-win Suns in Game 7, up 30 points at halftime on the Suns' home floor. A game that completely ended that Suns team. Honestly, the organization still hasn't recovered from the fallout of that loss. Ja Morant turned into a full-blown superstar. Meanwhile, Brooklyn's super team fell apart. Kyrie missed games, Harden left, and Ben Simmons never suited up. The Warriors dynasty reloaded, the Celtics took a leap, and Luka and Ja made their mark. This season felt like the NBA finally hit reset. After a few weird years, the league felt normal again, and it didn't disappoint. Number 10. 2018-2019. The Raptors won their first title, and it was also Canada's first title, all thanks to Kawhi Leonard. His Game 7 buzzer beater against Philly, the ball bouncing 4 times before falling, is one of the single greatest aura-farming moments in NBA history. He then followed it up by defeating MVP Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then came the finals, Raptors vs. Warriors. Golden State was making their 5th straight trip, looking for a three-peat. But they were breaking down. Durant infamously returned early from his calf injury in Game 5 and then tore his Achilles. Then Klay went down with a torn ACL in Game 6. Toronto capitalized. The Raptors won it in 6. Elsewhere, Harden had a historic scoring run. 36 points per game, 32 straight 30-point games, and multiple 50 and 60-point explosions. Meanwhile, in OKC, Paul George played the best basketball of his career and even made a run for MVP. His season ended with Dame Lillard pulling up from 37 feet, burying the Thunder and waving goodbye. Ice cold, aura on top of aura. This season had it all: legendary moments, the fall of a super team, and a champion from a whole new country. Number 10 might seem low to some, but I'm telling you, I love basically every NBA season, so making the top 10 on this list means I consider the aura to be elite. Number 9. 2019-2020. This had to be the strangest season in NBA history. I'm sure there's a ton of differing opinions on where this season should be ranked, but with basically the whole world at a standstill, the NBA put on a show. Of course, the season actually started super normally. LeBron and AD were clicking, Giannis was balling, but everything stopped on March 11th when the league shut down. Crazy thing is, the NBA was the thing that signaled to many people that the world was going to be shut down. 4 months later, the NBA returned, inside a bubble at Disney World. No fans, no travel, just pure basketball. And it worked. Players went off. TJ Warren dropped 50 points out of nowhere. Devin Booker hit a game winner and went 8-0 in the bubble, a glimpse into what Phoenix was building. Dame Lillard caught fire and carried Portland into the playoffs. The playoffs were intense. In the West, we had one of the most insane showdowns of all time between Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell. Both of them literally couldn't miss for an entire series. Meanwhile, playoff Jimmy started to make himself known, but LeBron and AD were too much. The Lakers won it in 6 and delivered a deeply emotional title in the year Kobe passed away. The bubble sort of felt like a reality TV show. It was super cool to have all the greatest basketball players in the world in one place, just focused on one thing. We got some of the highest quality shot making we've ever seen. A truly unforgettable season. Number 8, 2013-2014. Kevin Durant won MVP by carrying OKC without Westbrook, who was injured for most of the season. KD scored at will and delivered his famous "You the real MVP" speech. Meanwhile, the Spurs dominated, using ball movement and balance to win 62 games, all with no players averaging more than 17 points per game. The playoffs were sick. 5 first-round series went to Game 7, and buzzer beaters were everywhere. Off the court, Clippers owner Donald Sterling was banned for life after racist comments surfaced, and the NBA's response became a defining cultural moment. The finals delivered. The Spurs got their revenge on the Heat with near-perfect basketball. They dominated Miami and won the series in 5 games. Kawhi Leonard, at just 22 years old, won the finals MVP. This also signaled an end to the Heatles era in Miami. 2 things really stand out to me about this season: Durant winning MVP and securely establishing himself at the top of the league alongside LeBron, and Kawhi Leonard showing that he was going to be a very special player. Number 7, 2005-2006. Kobe Bryant dominated the regular season, dropping 81 points in one game and averaging 35 a night. The rule changes from the previous year that cracked down on hand checking as well as defensive 3 seconds boosted offense, and guys like LeBron, Nash, and Dirk were all taking advantage. Steve Nash ended up winning his 2nd straight MVP as the Suns put on an offensive showcase night after night. The playoffs were wild. Dirk took out the defending champ Spurs in a Game 7 classic, and the Suns reached the Western Conference Finals without Amar'e Stoudemire. In the East, Wade and Shaq fought through Detroit and made their way to the finals. Dallas won the first 2 games, but then Dwayne Wade took over. He averaged nearly 35 points a game and led Miami to 4 straight wins. His Game 3 comeback became legendary. Some people have complained about the refereeing in this series, claiming Wade got way too many free throws, and they kinda have a point. He averaged 16 free throw attempts per game, which included a total of 46 across the final 2 games of the series. But a ring is a ring, and Wade and Shaq got it done. It was both teams' first finals appearances, which is awesome, and the regular season had some historic scoring. This was truly peak Kobe getting buckets, and I also feel like Wade gets a little disrespected these days. People forget just how sweet his breakout was this season. He led the Heat to this trophy at just 24 years old. Number 6, 2012-2013. This was the year LeBron and the Heat simply owned the regular season. He won his 4th MVP, and Miami ripped a 27-game win streak, the 2nd longest ever at the time. Harden also had his first season with the Rockets, where he immediately broke out as one of the league's best offensive players. The playoffs were sweet. The Pacers pushed Miami to 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, as we all got to see Paul George show signs of what he'd later become. Meanwhile, the Spurs cruised through the West, and the table was set for a legendary finals. Game 6 will never be forgotten. LeBron's heroic 4th quarter seemed like it was going to fall just short, until Ray Allen's corner 3 saved their season. In Game 7, LeBron handled business and closed it out, securing Miami's 2nd straight title. All was not lost for the Spurs though, as Kawhi made it clear he was the future during this series. Steph Curry also started to break out a little in the playoffs, leading the Warriors to the 2nd round. Steph was coming off a lot of ankle issues in the previous couple years, and this was the season he really started to show signs of being extremely special. This was also the year that Kobe tore his Achilles and famously still took the free throws, which he made. This season had new stars beginning to break out, a ton of legends at their peak, and one of the greatest finals ever. Number 5, 2003-2004. The Lakers came into the season stacked, with Kobe, Shaq, Malone, and Peyton, but between Kobe's legal troubles, chemistry issues, and injuries to Malone, the team was beginning to fall apart. Still, they made it to the finals, with moments like Derek Fisher's legendary shot with 0.4 seconds left against the Spurs. Then came Detroit. No superstars, just 5 guys who played hard and defended like their lives depended on it. Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, and one of my favorite players ever, the one and only Ben Wallace. They shut LA down in 5 games, holding them under 70 points twice. This was one of the grimiest, hungriest, and dog mentality teams in the history of the league. Meanwhile, a new generation arrived. LeBron, Wade, and Carmelo all made immediate impacts. LeBron won Rookie of the Year, while Wade led Miami to the playoffs, and Carmelo did the same in Denver. Excitement for a new era of superstars was building, but this season will always be remembered for one of the biggest finals upsets ever. Number 4, 2007-2008. Boston built a super team overnight. KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce joined forces and turned a 24-win team into a 66-win powerhouse. Garnett won Defensive Player of the Year, Pierce was just balling, and Boston's defense was suffocating. Kobe won MVP, even though Chris Paul made a strong case. The Lakers got Pau Gasol mid-season, which gave them the juice they needed to make a finals run. Boston barely survived the East, needing 7 games to beat both Atlanta and Cleveland. In the finals, Boston came back from 24 points down in Game 4 and then crushed LA in Game 6. Pierce got the finals MVP, and Garnett said the classic "anything is possible." While the superstars of the time battled things out down in Seattle in what would be the team's final season before moving to OKC, there was a rookie named Kevin Durant who was turning some heads. The amount of hype going into this season was on another level with the formation of the Celtics super team, and then the Lakers getting Pau mid-season and becoming contenders just took it to another level. We finally got a Celtics vs Lakers finals again. Number 3, 2009-2010. This was another legendary season during the Celtics and Lakers era. The Lakers were looking to win their second straight with Kobe hunting ring number 5. They also wanted to get revenge on Boston for taking them down in 2008. During the regular season, Kobe led LA to the top seed. The Celtics paced themselves and saved their energy for the playoffs. LeBron won his second MVP in a row and led the Cavs to 61 wins. But they got upset by Boston, who ended LeBron's season for the second time in 3 years. The finals were physical, tense, and ugly. Game 7 was pure chaos, and the Lakers won 83-79. It was a gritty, emotional win that capped the Lakers dynasty and put an end to an era. Meanwhile, Kevin Durant was the scoring champion, averaging over 30 points per game at just 21 years old. Tyreke Evans had a spectacular rookie season, and I remember thinking he was the league's next superstar. He had an up and down career after that, but never topped his rookie year. This was also the year Gilbert Arenas had his infamous locker room incident. All in all, this season had it all. Drama, new superstars breaking out, and legends battling on the biggest stage trying to cement their legacies. Number 2, 2010-2011. All eyes were on Miami. This was year 1 for LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. They set the expectations for themselves sky high, and everyone was waiting to see if they'd deliver. We also got Derrick Rose breaking out and winning MVP at age 22. This entire season would be near the top of this list just from D Rose's aura alone. We also got the classic Blake Griffin dunking over a car in the dunk contest. When it came playoff time, Dirk Nowitzki was on a mission. The Mavs swept the defending champ Lakers, then beat OKC in the West Finals. Dirk was unstoppable. In the finals, Miami led 2-1, but Dallas stormed back. Dirk started taking over, while Dallas figured out the recipe to stop LeBron. He shrunk in fourth quarters, and the Mavs won in 6. It was one of the most legendary upsets ever. Dirk got his ring, Kidd finally got his, and LeBron went back to the drawing board. It was already an unbelievable year, and the finals was the perfect cherry on top. Number 1, 2015-2016. Finally, we have what I'd consider NBA perfection. For starters, we not only had the 73-9 Warriors, but the Spurs also won an insane 67 games. In the final game of the season, the Warriors had to beat the Grizzlies to secure win number 73. But that wasn't the biggest story of the day, because Kobe Bryant was busy putting on the most magical performance we've ever seen, dropping 60 points in his final NBA game. This was Steph's mega breakout year, unanimous MVP, unstoppable basketball. Some of the most fun I've ever had watching the game. Already, the regular season had this as one of the top aura seasons of all time. But after all that winning in the regular season, Golden State still got into some trouble in the Western Conference Finals. They were down 3-1 against Durant and Russ's OKC Thunder. After winning Game 5, Klay Thompson came through with a legendary Game 6 performance to save their season. Over in the East, LeBron and the Cavs marched their way into the finals. And then we all know how that went. The Warriors went up 3-1, but after Draymond got suspended for Game 5, LeBron and Kyrie dropped 41 apiece. Then LeBron dropped 41 again in Game 6. And then finally, in Game 7, it was everything Hoop fans could have asked for. We got LeBron's block, and then Kyrie's shot to seal it. Cleveland ended a 52-year title drought. LeBron collapsed in tears. We had just witnessed the most iconic comeback in NBA history.